हम बहुत एक्साइटेड हैं कि इस सोच को हर दिन जीते हुए चैलेंज के साथ मैदान में खेलने वाले कुछ चैंपियंस आज हमारे साथ हैं। आइए स्वागत करते हैं आज के स्पोर्ट्स डिस्कशन के पैनलिस्ट का।
खिलाड़ियों में हमारी पहली पैनलिस्ट ने इंडियन विमेन्स क्रिकेट टीम को नई ऊंचाइयों तक पहुंचाया है। दूसरी, जिन्हें शटलकॉक की रानी के नाम से जाना जाता है, उनके साथ में है विमेन सिंगल और डबल ट्रैप शूटिंग की लेजेंड और कम उम्र में कैंसर को हराकर क्लाइंबिंग में नई उपलब्धि हासिल करने वाली एक स्पोर्ट्स लॉयर, कंसल्टेंट और पॉलिसी मेकर इस ग्रुप को पूरा करते हैं। और इन सभी को आज डिस्कशन के सूत्र में बांधने वाले हमारे सुकेत सर।
We request Suket sir and our panelists Mithali Raj, Saina Nehwal, Shagun Chowdhary, Shivani Charak and Vidushpat Singhania. The topic of the discussion will be excellence, a never-ending pursuit.
Hi, good evening. I have such wonderful people on the panel with me. I am very honored, very humbled, very privileged. I've been asked to introduce them. I don't think my words can ever do justice to what these guys have done for their sports and our wonderful nation. But I will just give a few words in order to introduce them. So we have Shivani Charak. Shivani is a internationally known rock climber. She does speed climbing and bouldering. She was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 9. She recovered from that at the age of 13, and now she has achieved what she has. We have Mithali Raj. All of us know Mithali. We know what she's achieved. She's literally set the cricket stadiums and pitches on fire. She's the highest run scorer in international cricket. Then along with me I've got Saina, who is former world number 1 of badminton. She has won 11 World Super Series titles and numerous titles with the World Badminton Federation, and she captained India to the bronze at the Uber Cup, and she also got single golds at the Commonwealth Games. Then I got Shagun Chowdhary, who's a clay pigeon shooter. She made history as the first woman Olympian in the 2012 Olympics, and she switched to the double trap when the trap shooting was removed from the Olympics. Last but definitely not the least, I've got Vidushpat Singhania, who is India's premier sports lawyer. He's co-authored a book and he's been a part of many bills around doping and scandals in India, and he's a very, very prominent lawyer. So all of you guys, look, we have a wonderful audience. We have a lot of young people. So just want a simple conversation around the ingredients of excellence. All of you have achieved and smashed many, many ceilings getting to where you have. And I think for all of us, there is some learning here. So if I could start with you, Mithali. I think cricket and you found each other almost by accident when you were going to your brother's nets. Your father used to send you, कि जाओ nets में जाओ अपने भाइयों के साथ. वहाँ से what got you going and that you were able to achieve this huge level of cricket and set the goals that you have?
What got me going is the fact that I wanted to ape my brother. The way he played cricket, I just wanted to play cricket as well. But I was quite disappointed to not see a single girl in the academy, which was an exclusive boys camp. And when I told my dad that I also want to play like Bhaiya, he said, the sport is not for girls. So that made me even more stronger that I have to get there. Because as a young kid, at least me, I was a rebel. I wanted to do exactly opposite to what my parents told me to do when I was young. So And yeah, that's how I got into sport. My talent was spotted my brother's coach, and he was the one who told that he told my father that it is better to invest in your daughter because there is a high possibility she'll end up playing for the country than your son, who's not too keen to get into sports at all. And but what initially helped me a lot is, of course, like the lady just said, the joy of playing. So that was the first attraction. And when you're in school, you love the attention. So in those days, women's cricket, of course, was in obscurity, but what little we played was acknowledged in the newspaper in a form of a small passport-sized picture in the newspaper, and then you go to school and this kid is a star because you get to see your picture in the newspaper, a small article. So these things did inspire me. Like, in the small community, in the school itself, you're a superstar because you're playing a sport. But when the competition came into the journey, that's when I think the real thing starts, the hard work, the resilience, the criticism, the failures. But I think over the years, it did peel a layer after layer of my personality to make me far more stronger. As a young kid, what I was, of course, a lot of my beliefs have changed over the years. To the woman that I am today, far more stronger, I think, is due to the fact that all the experiences that I have endured over the years in my journey has helped me to become a more resilient woman today.
Wonderful. I think everybody joins me in thanking your coach for telling your father to invest in you rather than your brother. So
you have your daughter say that she loves cricket. So
absolutely. Shagun, you actually started swimming and watched your family. Your father used to go to the range as a child. So you were a relative latecomer to competitive shooting, professional shooting. What did you do to catch up with people who started before you?
So I was always sporty. I used to take parts in lots of sports in school. And my mom was of the opinion, like most mothers are, that whatever you take up, you have to be the best at it. So I could not do anything for just recreation. If I started swimming, then the coach would say, oh, she's got a great stroke, so let's make her do lengths, and the next thing I know, I'm participating in the nationals, and so on and so forth. So my father took me to the ranges when I was all of 3 years old in Bikaner, and it used to be very fascinating for me to watch him because he shot something called skeet, which is clay pigeon shooting, where these flying targets and you're shooting with a 12-bore shotgun with a 24-gram cartridge, and you're basically bursting them in the air. But unfortunately, back in the day when I was in school in Jaipur, there were no ranges. So I did not get the opportunity to try my skill at shooting. I went to Delhi for graduation, and that's where my father told me, he said, why don't you take up shoot? You enjoy sport, you enjoyed watching me, so why don't you give it a shot? And I literally gave it a shot. And so I started going to the range, and now back in the day, it was a completely male-dominated sport. There was not a single woman on the range. So nobody took me seriously. And so it's not about catching up. I had no catching up to do. I was running a marathon just by myself. And where and there were no role models, or there were no examples that, for me to follow, that, if you're getting to the sport, she will become like her, or she has this one, so this is the benchmark that she has for herself. I had to set those benchmarks, and I had to had to have the self-belief that what I'm doing is right, and also prove to everybody around me that I have made the right decision. Because while my friends were getting college degrees, which I also got, and jobs, and settling down, I was shooting clay targets with no end in sight. It was just me. And I would come back, and my extended family would ask me, why are you wasting your time? Where are you going to go with this and all? But my father would say, what if doesn't matter, if nobody else has done it, why can't you be the first one? And that is the encouragement that I needed in order to pursue the sport. And it took me 8 years and an Olympic berth, the first and only one till now, which kind of broke, as we call those glass ceilings, where now we have, I still have a lot of catching up to do, in the sense we're always learning, because the international standard back in, is immense in terms of your nutrition, in terms of physical fitness, in terms of everything. Back in the day, we had nothing. I remember this one person who came up to me and he said, go and milk a cow because your forearms will become stronger. And I just looked at him and I said, what? So he says, yeah, you should do that. Your forearms will become stronger and then you will be able to shoot better. So people would just come and give these, they were being nice. They were giving this advice because there was nothing to actually fall back on. There was no professionalism back then in the sport. But now we have, now I'm still a part of the Indian shooting team. It's been 23 years and still at it. And now we have a bench strength of, from being the only one in clay pigeon shooting, we have over 100 girls who have that dream in their eyes that they can make it to the Olympics, they can make it to, and they can win a medal for the country. So that was my journey.
Wonderful. Look, I think, achieving excellence in anything is hard enough, but not having a path, not having any examples, not having role models, one can't imagine how difficult that must have been. I think now if I come to you, Saina, complete polar opposite. You come from a family where your parents played badminton. I think your mother played at state level as well. How was it different from you, and what were the contrasting challenges you had? Did it help you with your mental makeup? Did it cause you different issues?
I think so. When I was really small, I was like 7-8 years old, and we used to live in Haryana, Hisar, and my parents used to every day go to the club and play badminton. और मुझे एक ही चीज़ पसंद नहीं थी, बैडमिंटन खेलना. I used to play all kind of sports but not badminton. I used to go there, have omelette, और मैं भाग जाती थी to play cricket with my friends or swimming or some kind of sport but not badminton. I was like, यार अच्छा है, मैं यहाँ पे omelette खा लेती हूँ, चले जाती हूँ. लेकिन one fine day my father got promoted and I don't know how but he chose Hyderabad. We are North Indians but he was like नहीं, हमें हैदराबाद जाना है, वहाँ पे अच्छा रहेगा. So I was like, ठीक है, I am going to miss my friends here and I am going to leave everyone here and let's see वहाँ पे क्या होगा. So I went there and I did karate for 1 year because I was a very sporty kid. तो after school क्या करना I didn't know. So I was like asking my father कि कुछ तो करना है जिससे मैं थोड़ा सा active रहूँ. And I really liked competition. I don't know why but I used to love competition. And I was happy doing karate, but when I got brown belt in that, and I was like, it's very tough for me as an 8-year-old. I was getting a lot of hits by boys because we used to do a lot of fighting and all. So I was like, Papa, nahi hoga mujhse, maybe some other sport. And I don't know, one of my father's friend was like, Saina ko badminton mein dal dete hain. School se pehle, school ke baad, thoda sa time pass ho jayega uska. And she anyways loves playing sports. I was like, nahi Papa, nahi, kuch aur karte hain, but badminton nahi. Because, obviously they used to play, so I was like, kuch aur karenge. But he said, nahi, just try it out, maybe you might like it. The first thing which I liked was, in badminton, competition. Competition with boys specifically. Boys ke saath jo competition karti thi main. Anything, it used to be badminton mein games ho gaya, ya cross country ho gayi, ya weight lifting ho gaya, ya any kind of training I used to give tough fight to the boys because I knew girls are way behind. तो चलेगा, तो इनके साथ ही करना है. So maybe I'll get to some level. I didn't know कि state level क्या होता है, international level क्या होता है, because that time we didn't have anyone from Indian badminton doing well or beating any Chinese or Koreans. I was like, इनसे competition करना is going to be, I can't even think of. पहले district level तो खेल लूँ. So I won districts. I don't know how. I just won the districts and I went to the state. I won the under 10 state level and that's when my mom was like, I was only 9 and my mom was like, एक दिन तुझे मैं Olympic medal जीताऊंगी. And I literally laughed at her face saying that आपको लगता है मैं Olympic medal जीतूंगी? जिधर हम obviously China और I was only 9, I didn't know what's the meaning of Olympic medal, but I could see in her that she really wanted me to do well and she is a big fan of tennis, so she used to watch a lot of tennis. So she was like, एक दिन Steffi Graf जैसा बनना है, you really have to do well. I didn't have anyone to look up to, you know, in badminton. So she used to like think कि tennis के level पे कुछ करवाना है. I used to follow her. Obviously कुछ डांट पिटती थी, थप्पड़ खाने को मिलते थे. All my colleagues used to laugh at me, but I was like, एक दिन तुमको करके दिखाऊंगी मैं. I'll achieve it and show it to you. So when I achieved the world number 1 ranking, so when I achieved the world number 1 ranking and won the Olympic medal, you know, I used to go to practice and my colleagues used to be like, Saina, काश हमारी मम्मी भी कुछ ऐसा कर देती हमारे साथ, you know, थोड़ा हमें push कर देती है. Like अब तो पुरानी होगी बात, अब आगे देखो. But now when I remember that, you know, I know for a small kid it's not easy to understand what level of anything you're going to do in life. I used to be like, मुझे डॉक्टर बनना है, मुझे ये बनना है, वो बनना है. But definitely at that point of time, you definitely need to have a person behind you who can think for you. I know it's not easy, but my mom was someone who used to think for me कि इसको Olympic medal जिताना है, and I used to read in books saying that PT Usha ने she missed a medal by few seconds, and same with Milkha Singh sir. And I used to feel so bad क्योंकि 3 लोग खड़े होते हैं Olympic podium पे, and I can understand how it feels. So when I stood on the podium, I was like, shit, ये कहाँ पे हूँ? Because everyone was crying, you know, the whole team was crying. It feels so special. And so that's when I realized that I'm really blessed that I could play for the country and stand on that podium, and I could realize the meaning of Olympic medal and being world number 1. So all thanks to my parents for doing that.
Thank you, Saina. I think सबको एक पीछे से पुश करने वाला हम सबको चाहिए होता है. I think, Shivani, if I come to you, journeys towards excellence, हम लोग सब कैसे पहुंचते हैं? Yours was a very, very difficult one. आपने क्लाइंबिंग चालू की, आप 9 साल की उम्र पे आपको इतनी बुरी बीमारी डायग्नोस हुई, आप 3-4 साल में बेटर हुई. After you came out of your cancer and you came out of your treatment, what motivated you to keep climbing higher, literally?
जब मैंने अपना स्पोर्ट्स क्लाइंबिंग का जर्नी स्टार्ट किया था तो मेरे को सबसे पहले सबने मना किया था कि मत करो, क्योंकि मेरा रिसेंटली ऑपरेट हुआ था, क्योंकि मेरे को कैंसर की प्रॉब्लम थी तो मेरा उसका ऑपरेट हुआ था. और उस समय मैंने सिर्फ रिकवरी किया था, तो मैं अपने पैरों पे उस समय चल भी नहीं पाती थी अच्छे से और खड़े भी नहीं हो पाती थी. लाइक मैं वॉशरूम तक जाती थी तो मेरे मम्मी पापा मुझे उठा के ले जाते थे, और लाइक उस समय मेरे मतलब बाल भी सारे गिर गए थे, आईब्रो के, सिर के. तो मैं कहीं भी जाती थी बहुत सारे लोग मजाक भी लेते थे, तो मुझे बहुत बुरा भी लगता था उस समय कि जब कोई मेरे को ये चीज़ बोलता था कि तेरे बाल नहीं है, तू ऐसी दिखती है वैसी थी, तब बहुत बुरा भी लगता था. बट मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मुझे हमेशा मोटिवेट किया कि नहीं, कुछ नहीं होता, तू ठीक हो जाएगी. तो स्टार्टिंग में तो ये चीज़ बताई भी नहीं गई थी कि मुझे कैंसर की प्रॉब्लम है. मुझे ये चीज़ बोली गई थी कि तुझे स्टोन की प्रॉब्लम है, तो हम उसका ट्रीटमेंट करवा रहे हैं. तो जब हमने कंटिन्यूस 3-4 ईयर्स ट्रीटमेंट करवाया तो उसके बाद मुझे पता चला था कि मुझे कैंसर का प्रॉब्लम है. जब मेरा ऑपरेट हुआ, क्योंकि उस दिन डॉक्टर्स ने मुझे बोला था कि आपको ऑपरेट के लिए अंदर लेना है, तो मैंने डॉक्टर्स को बोला कि डॉक्टर्स बोलते कि चलो हम आपको बेड पे लेके चलते हैं. तो मैंने बोला नहीं, मैं खुद चल के जाऊँगी, कि मुझे अंदर जाके देखना है, क्योंकि मैं छोटी थी तो मुझे ये था कि नहीं, मुझे अंदर जाके देखना ऑपरेट कैसे करते हैं. तो मेरे को ये था कि नहीं, मेरे सामने ऑपरेट होगा, मैं अपना ऑपरेट देखूंगी. तो मैं अंदर गई, लाइक मैंने सीजर्स वगैरह देखी, ये सब देखी, तो मेरे को धीरे धीरे चक्कर आना शुरू हो गए. तो डॉक्टर्स ने बोला इसको बेहोश करते हैं. तो उसके बाद मेरा ऑपरेट हुआ. लाइक मेरा ऑपरेट होते भी 4 से 5 घंटे लग गए थे. तो मेरे मम्मी पापा भी बाहर टेंशन में थे कि ये बहुत देर से नहीं आई करके. तो लाइक जब मैंने स्पोर्ट्स क्लाइंबिंग स्टार्ट किया तो मेरे स्कूल में एक बार क्लाइंबिंग कंपटीशन के लिए फॉर्म्स आए थे. मैंने ज़िद किया कि मुझे फिल करना है. स्टार्टिंग में सब लोगों ने मना किया कि नहीं करोगे, आप नहीं करोगे. तो मैंने बोला कि नहीं, मुझे करना ही करना है. तो ठीक है, मेरे ब्रदर्स थे, मेरे से दोनों छोटे हैं, वो ट्विन्स हैं. तो मैंने उनको बोला कि नहीं, मुझे भी जाना है. तो मेरे ब्रदर्स के साथ मेरी बॉन्डिंग बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छी है, और मेरी सिस्टर के साथ मतलब मैं ऑलमोस्ट अपनी फैमिली में सबकी लाडली थी. तो मैंने बोला कि नहीं, मुझे भी जाना है. तो मेरी सिस्टर फर्स्ट क्लाइंबिंग पे गई, तो मेरे भाइयों ने उसका पीछा किया वो कहाँ पे जाती है. तो एक दिन वो देख के आए और दूसरे दिन वो मुझे वहाँ पे लेके गए कि कहाँ पे क्लाइंबिंग होती है. और मैं गई वहाँ पे, मैंने देखा कैसे होता है. तो नेक्स्ट डे हमारा वहाँ पे शायद डिस्ट्रिक्ट टूर्नामेंट था. तो 2 घंटे 40 मिनट में 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 2 घंटे 40 मि क्योंकि लाइफ में मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि सबके मम्मी पापा यही चाहते हैं कि हमारे बच्चे लाइफ में कुछ अच्छा करें, तो हमारा भी ये फ़र्ज़ है अपने मम्मी पापा के लिए कि नहीं, अगर उन्होंने हमारे पे ट्रस्ट किया, हमें इतनी दूर भेजा है, तो हम भी उनके लिए कुछ करें, हम भी कुछ अच्छा करें। अगर हम ट्रेनिंग के लिए आए हैं तो हम ट्रेनिंग ही करें। तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है इस समय। मैंने 2019 में एशियन यूथ चैम्पियनशिप में इंडिया के लिए ब्राउन्स मेडल जीता था स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग में। बोल रहे थे तो उस दिन मुझे बहुत प्राउड फील हुआ कि आज वही लोग मेरे मम्मी पापा को बोल रहे हैं कि ये अच्छा करिए। उस समय वही लोग बोलते थे कि इनको सिर्फ पढ़ाई करवाओ और घर का काम सिखाओ, तो आज वही लोग मेरे मम्मी पापा को बोलते हैं पढ़ाई भी मत कराओ चलेगा, बट इसको स्पोर्ट्स में करवाओ। जब मैं स्पोर्ट्स स्टार्टिंग में स्पोर्ट्स क्लाइंबिंग पे आई थी तो मुझे हाइट से बहुत डर लगता था। बट बचपन में हम लोग एक विलेज से बिलोंग करते थे, तो हम लोग नदी वगैरह पे जाते थे, तो मेरे भाई पेड़ के ऊपर चढ़ते थे, वो पेड़ से नदी में जंप करते थे, तो मेरे को भी धीरे धीरे उन्होंने सिखाया पेड़ से जंप करना। तो धीरे धीरे जब मैंने क्लाइंबिंग ज्वाइन किया तो उसके बाद मेरा हाइट फोबिया था वो भी ख़त्म हो गया। अब मेरे को हाइट से बिल्कुल भी डर नहीं लगता, पहले मुझे बहुत डर लगता था।
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shivani. Vidush, if I can come back to you now, I think excellence for athletes is very different to excellence in your profession. But aap jo karte ho, you cannot do that without excellence. So, in a non-sporting environment, excellence का क्या मतलब होता है? Excellence क्या चीज़ होती है?
We've heard from the main cast, now I'm the supporting cast, right? Supporting cast also has to excel somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As I said, that these people are, I think, an inspiration to all of us. They've taught us and they've shown us actually how human being can excel and can show. And as Indians, they've shown the world how Indians can excel. For me, I think the journey has been actually dependent on the success of sports and success of the beautiful people here. Unfortunately, law, boring. You have to go through files, you have to go through documents. I think what been excellence for us is persevering, not feeling afraid to take up new issues or new arguments or aspects which have never been taken before. And to some extent, maybe being able to withstand pressure. Two small incidents, maybe everybody's heard about those issues here. So, a friend of mine from school, he came to me, he said he had an anti-doping violation, some anabolic steroid. And he came to me and he said, this has come in my urine, I have not done it. Traditionally, the argument that we always take is fault, no fault, or say that maybe the lab will make a mistake. And he said, none of those arguments were available there. The first time, I think, in the world, an argument was taken that a DNA of the urine needs to be done. We actually studied a lot of scientific papers. As a lawyer, I found it very difficult, but we did study them. And we figured out that it could be done. We pled that. It was a 2-year battle. Eventually, that DNA sample got tested, and a London lab said that is a 1 in a billion chance that it could be that athlete's sample. And for the first time, the World Anti-Doping Agency, the National Anti-Doping Agency, they apologized to the athlete. And we keep getting calls from across the world that what is this argument, what did you guys take, and how were you able to prove it, because it was not there in the anti-doping code as well till now. So that's one aspect. The second, which may be more interesting, is the Indian Premier League and the investigation we did. So I was the secretary to the Supreme Court committee which did the investigation for the Indian Premier League. Less said the better. I think you unearthed a lot of dirt. We saw what was happening in Indian cricket. Some of the heroes that you worshipped fell, at least in your eyes. In the end, there was so much pressure coming from various factions to write a report or to do certain things in a certain manner. And fortunately, we had good mentors and good committee members who said, don't worry, we keep investigating, keep writing, and do what is right. And I think the report ended up, to some extent, reforming cricket. We hope it does more. India is now, in the sense of being recognized world over for not only for sporting prowess and sporting power, but as well as we are trying to reform our governance models. And now Indian governance models are getting copied world over as well. So I think we are doing something right there.
Wonderful. I think, you're absolutely right. That report transformed cricket. I think while it fell off a cliff, we are today where we are because of that investigation and that report that happened. So I think this is also a great way. Thanks a lot for a segue into what I want to come into next. I think in every journey of excellence, even once you reach excellence, either a new competitor or some setback, some injury or some change of the environment causes you to reassess where excellence needs to be. And that itself poses a different set of challenges. So Shagun, this time if I can start with you. I mean, you faced a major change in 2003 when double trap was removed and you had to go from a clay pigeon that was moving at 60 kilometers an hour to 100 kilometers an hour. You had to go through your entire technique and everything. And you still had a dream and desire to be an Olympian. So what did you do to make that change and to rise and become excellent again in such a different discipline?
So I started clay pigeon shooting in 2001 and I started with double trap. Why? Because it was easier than the other ones. I had the gun mounted on my shoulder, the target only flew at 60 kilometers an hour. It was easier to hit it. So I said, okay, at least I'm getting something here. So I'm feeling better. And in 2003, India was hosting the Asian Championship. So because India was hosting the Asian Championship, again I was the only girl, and because they didn't have the federation and the government didn't have to do any kharcha on me because I had to participate in Delhi only, they put me in the team. So I said, okay, great, I got the first platform, I'm going to participate in the Asian Championship. Nobody had any faith in me. Everybody is like, I would just go around with the gun, shoot my rounds. I didn't have faith in myself because I was really new and it was a huge platform for me. From the nationals, you straight away jumped to the Asian Championship. The next thing I know, I've beaten the Chinese and I've picked up a bronze. So I was like, wow, I've arrived. This is, double trap is my thing. Now I'll be sent with the Indian team for all these competitions abroad and I'll be traveling with the team. I was super excited. That excitement didn't last too long because in 2004, the Olympic Committee took a stand that they will eliminate double trap for women, only women from the Olympics. Here I am on a high that yes, I've got my first international medal, I'll be traveling. And I'm like, damn, back to square one, now what? So then so I said, okay, doesn't matter, let's try your hand at trap. So trap is basically an unknown target, so it flies at 100 kilometers an hour in any direction. So the direction you don't know, so your reflexes, everything changes. Now, like I said, there was nobody to actually guide me in terms of, like as athletes, we have a routine, there's a certain process we follow. I had nothing. So I went to a senior shooter for guidance and I asked him, I said, what is the routine, like what do you, so he says, Shagun, आप मेरे को एक बात बताओ, आप शॉट फायर करने से पहले क्या सोचते हो? So I said, Om Bhur Bhuva Sva Tatsavitra Varenyam Bhargavati He's like, ये थोड़ा सा लंबा process है. So I said, he said, तो और क्या? I said, Jai Mata Di. So he's like, okay, I think we need to work on this. So I said, absolutely. So what? Then, so from 2003, when I shifted to trap, my entire idea, first of all, I got guidance from, because I had that medal. So people believed that I could pick up a medal in the international circuit. So that is why they were open to talking to me. And by telling me, what can be done in this sport. And then I started talking to my seniors who started coaching me. But again, they didn't take me very seriously because I'm a girl. So the shelf life of a woman athlete is very short in this country. Why? Because we have only so many years that we can play sports. After that, you have to get married, then you have to have kids, then you have to have a family. And obviously, if the girl's doing all that, it's very difficult to, according to people, to pursue sport. So they did so that they were like, yeah, she'll be here for 2-3 years and she'll do what she has to. But anyway, my journey started from there, where I stopped with the Om Bhur Bhava Swaha. I started concentrating on routine, I started concentrating on processes, and it took me 8 years, starting from 2003 when I switched to 2011, where I had to keep proving no Asian Championship medals mattered, no World Cup places mattered, nothing mattered. When we used to travel, they used to say, oh, the men's team are going to go and pick up a medal, the women's team is just going for shopping and they're going for sightseeing. And the men's team would also say it, and you would just look at yourself and you would be like, but I am training as hard as you're training. I am also putting in the same amount of hours. So why is it that I am going for shopping and you're going whatever? But you couldn't say anything because you hadn't proved yourself. So I remember, and then my first, so we had the World Cup in Slovenia in the month of July, where there were a couple of Olympic berths that were, there were 2 Olympic berths that were available. And I have the worst, in the sense, luck. I always come 4th. I miss out that 3rd position by 1 target. So anyways, I came 4th, and the 2nd and 3rd positions in that ISSF World Cup, they picked up the Olympic targets, and I shot a 72 out of 75, which was a pretty decent score, but didn't happen. So I went to the tent crying because that's the closest I got. Now, in two months later, we had the World Championships in Belgrade. And so I went for the World Championships. Again, I shot 72. And my coach comes up to me, he says, you shot 72. I said, again, I'm out. He said, no, you have a chance in the final. So I said, okay. So I went into the final. I came 4th, and there was only 1 Olympic quota on that you could collect. But the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd countries, China, US, and I think it was Czech, they already had the Olympic quota, so the Olympic quota came to me. And then I was like, okay, done. Going to the Olympics, prove myself. And from there onwards, the entire thought process changed. There were no taunting remarks. There was no, even if I would shop, which I would, but they couldn't say anything. Everything changed, and like I said, then so many other girls also joined it. So it was a process, but I am glad I didn't give up, and yeah, it happened as it happened.
Wonderful. I think every time you perform and every time you have a new set of competitors, you have to look at that differently and drive yourself differently. I think Saina, agar I can come to you. आप जब हैदराबाद में थी, your world ranking was well established. आपका coaching structure was delivering. You were getting results. And then you made the bold move of changing and going to Vimal sir in Bangalore. What impact did it have on your performance in the medium term?
I think अगर मैं अपने करियर को देखूँ तो there is never a point where I felt कि मैं और better नहीं कर सकती हूँ. You know, I used to always feel कि maybe I can push even more harder, maybe I can give my best in every match. Obviously, it's impossible when you're playing 20 tournaments in a year. Body बहुत ही tough time से गुजरता है. You have to train so much. You have to be very disciplined. There are a lot of people who keep saying कि यार आज हार गए, कल हार गए. You'll have to face that. As a player, you have to keep listening to all these things, but at the same time you have to keep practicing hard. You have to believe in yourself कि when you have done well, when you have achieved so much, when you can beat so many Chinese players back to back, when you can win 3 Super Series back to back, which I did in 2010, and from like I was like maybe 70 in ranking or 60, and I came to world number 2 in that year, and I was like, everything is going fine, I'm training hard, I'm very disciplined, and I'm maybe doing perfect what any player can do. But come 2011, when I started losing to some of the players, they started watching my game, they started analyzing कि साइना इधर mistake कर रही है, उधर कर रही है. But what I felt was, you know, why is that I'm not improving, and they're, you know, at that point of time, in top 10, I was the only one Indian, and all of them were Chinese. And I had to face them in quarters, semis, and finals, back-to-back tournaments. So I was like, ऐसा नहीं होगा. You know, this is my 7th quarterfinals in the World Championship. अगर ऐसे ही I keep losing, maybe I'll get mentally blocked. You know, it's not easy for a player to come out of those situations, because when you are playing tough matches आपके mind में घूमते रहता है last match कैसा हुआ, last time कैसे हुआ, will I be able to beat her again. So those are the thoughts which keep playing. I know it's funny, but we keep thinking यार कल का match इसके साथ है, यार कल का बहुत tough है, आज कैसा होगा. So there's so many stupid thinking which comes in your mind, but at the same time you have to face that challenge. You have to think that your coach wants you to win, and there's a lot of expectations from people. Easy nahi hai players life, you know, you have to keep challenging yourself every day. So what I felt was I'm stuck at world number 2. I'm not winning against the Chinese players, and that time it was like Saina versus China hote rehta tha. So you know, I have to maintain my status. I have to keep giving them tough challenge. You know, after winning the Olympic medal, it was like और आगे बढ़ना है. I want to become world number 1. I want to achieve a lot more. And that's when I thought, you know, player ka career comes just once. You know, it's not, we don't have 100 years of game with us. It's a very short life of a sports person. So you have to take decision very fast. आजकल तो आप टेनिस में देखते हैं, they change coach so fast कि अभी रिजल्ट नहीं आया, कल दूसरा कोच ले लेते हैं. But I don't know, in India we are like, यार कोच को हटा दिया, यार ये हो गया. It's not such a big deal, you know. You have to first think about your career, your thing, and then comes, you know, you have to be selfish as a player. You know, I can't lie there, you know. You have to be selfish because it's my career. Finally, I want to achieve it, and I want to be proud that I tried everything. ऐसा नहीं होना है कि tomorrow I am sitting down with my parents or I am talking to them, मैंने try नहीं किया. Why I was only world number 2 when I had the capability to become world number 1. So these are the thoughts which will haunt me, you know. I started thinking all this कि मैं क्या हर एक वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप में क्वार्टर फाइनल में हारने वाली हूँ, या these Chinese are going to beat me again and again. So these are the, you know, things which were coming in my mind. So I spoke to my parents. I was like, Papa, thoda sa, I think I'll have to change the atmosphere. I have to go from Hyderabad to Bangalore. Maybe I'll try something new. Work kiya to kiya, nahi kiya to let us see what happens. I wanted to take that risk, and I'm thankful to my parents that after so many years, you know, I was telling that I wanted to move from Hyderabad to Bangalore, which is not easy क्योंकि मैंने कभी ऐसा किया नहीं था. So they were telling me that it's going to be very tough for you because it's not easy to move and train there, and don't know for how many years. But I moved to Bangalore. In first 3 months, I was just playing semis, finals, winning the tournaments back to back. I became world number 1, and I played the finals of All England. And also, for the first time, I played the finals of the World Championship after like 8 quarterfinals. So imagine that barrier which I had of the quarterfinals. In fact, if you see my match, 2015 World Championship quarterfinals against Wang Yihen of China, you know, I was 1917 up and then 2019 up, and I was thinking, you know, last time ki tarah ho jayega shayad, you know. I was not trusting the way I've trained, you know. I've trained like really well. But those thoughts come into mind, and you can't change it because it's natural. It will happen in the game. And you know, lucky I won that match. I was shivering. 21-19, I won that match, and I came out of the court, and Wang Yan came and hugged me because she knew the value of winning that match. You know, we both fought like anything. And of course, she was like, good luck for the semi-finals. And I was like, yes, finally I'm in semi-finals. And I could play the finals of the tournament, World Championship. I played like maybe 6 Super Series winner after that. You know, there was, of course, there's some injuries which play major role in players' life. You know, I went through all that. But I am happy today. When I look back, I took the decision, and who doesn't want to be world number 1? You know, it's everyone's dream. Everyone comes to me, the small kids, and they're like, Saina Didi, मुझे भी world number 1 बनना है. मैंने कहा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी, and आपको right decisions लेने पड़ेंगे. Otherwise, I've seen so many players sulking and sitting, you know, after the matches telling me that Saina यार ये नहीं आया, वो नहीं आया, and they are the most talented people, you know. I would say मेरे को उतना talent भी नहीं है, you know. I'm the most hardworking person, I would say, but उतना talent नहीं है. But I tried to do right things. I tried to improve my shots quality, and of course the results came out. So I can only say that कि आप, it's your career, you have to take the decision, not think that कि ये क्या बोलेगा, वो क्या बोलेगा. Finally, you have to sit alone and talk to yourself, saying that आज मेरे पास world number 1 है, Olympic medal है, World Championship medal है, twice with Vimal sir, even the bronze medal with him. So I'm proud that I did something new and it worked out for me. So yeah, you have to try it out.
Thank you. Audience, on page 3 there is a QR code. If you have any Q&A, we will have a Q&A session with all of the panelists. So please send your questions. I think आपने एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण परिश्रम, hard work, but the teacher that works for you. अपने को बदलाव से, change से डरना नहीं चाहिए, and you have to go to the people that work for you. I think Shivani, if I can come to you, आपने Asian Youth Championships में you hit your PB of 10.90 seconds. Talking to you, you also envy the Indonesian climbing team, and you say that the Indonesians climb really well. आपको अपने में क्या बदलना पड़ेगा to be more like to beat the Indonesians?
जब मैंने एशियन यूथ चैम्पियनशिप में मेडल निकाला था, जो हमारा स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग की वॉल होती है, बेसिकली उसकी 15 मीटर्स हाइट होती है, और रिसेंटली अभी उसका जो वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड है वो 4.90 माइक्रो सेकेंड्स का है. और मेरे को अभी अपना स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग इम्प्रूव करने के लिए मुझे बहुत हार्ड वर्क की ज़रूरत है, और मुझे हार्ड वर्क भी बहुत ज़्यादा पसंद है अपनी लाइफ में. मुझे कोई अगर बोल देते कि तू ये चीज़ नहीं कर सकती, तो मुझे वही चीज़ करना पसंद है. तो मुझे सब लोग बोलते थे कि मुझे सब लोग बोलते कि तू पतली है, तू स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग नहीं कर सकती. तो एक दिन मुझे एक भैया ने बोल दिया कि तू स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग तेरे लिए नहीं बनी है, तू मत कर. मुझे उस दिन बहुत ज़्यादा फील हुआ और मैं रोई भी. तो बट मैंने रोते रोते भी क्लाइंब किया, बट मैंने उस दिन सोच लिया था कि जो मर्जी हो जाए मुझे स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग करना ही करना है. तो उस समय मैंने स्पीड क्लाइंबिंग का ट्रेनिंग किया, और उसके बाद मैंने रिसेंटली उसी इवेंट में जिसमें उन्होंने मुझे बोला था तू नहीं कर सकती, और मैंने उसी इवेंट में एशियन यूथ चैम्पियनशिप में मेडल निकाला था. तो मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा था.
Thank you. Mithali, now if I can come to you. Setbacks are never pleasant, but the best of the best only returns stronger from each setback. From which of your setbacks did you bounce back the best?
See, as an individual player, there have been a lot of challenges, and I'm sure Saina will agree with me. The injuries as athletes is emotionally quite draining, and of course, other than the physical pain that the athlete has to endure. So there was this phase in my career where from 2005 I had this patella tendinitis in my knee. I still do, but there was a point in time when I decided to retire in 2009 after the ODI World Cup, where I felt that I couldn't push myself more, and the pain was excruciating even in day-to-day life. Doing basic things there was a time in a family gathering where my parents, from a South Indian family, so we have the habit of sitting on the floor. So my parents were sitting on the floor, and I was sitting on the chair because of my knee injury. And there were such incidents where my mother had to see me literally in tears to do the basic activity. So she said rather than getting physically handicapped for the rest of your life, you might as well retire when you're there. But that changed in 2009, and I ended up playing for another more than 10 years, I would say. And the other big challenge was as a captain. In 2013, a lot of people resonate with 2017 World Cup, how it has changed the landscape of women's cricket, but not many know what it took for a team to play the way we did in 2017 World Cup. It was because of the failure that we had to face in 2013. The ODI World Cup was hosted by BCCI in India, and we as a team felt it was a great opportunity to enhance the profile of the sport in our country, where we would want young children, people, parents to come and watch us play. Unfortunately, we couldn't even qualify for the Super 6 as being a host team. So you have all the conditions at your disposal, but when you don't qualify even for the knockouts, I think it was a huge disappointment, and more so for me as a captain. I did wallow for a brief period, but it was something, probably it was meant to be that, I had to play for another 4 years. So I decided to put a team together. I have the habit of writing a journal. So I put down all of those things which didn't work for the team, which worked for us as a team. Um, many times we feel that we could achieve everything on our own, but I think we are always dependent on people around us. We have to take everybody along with us in the ride. It is never one person achieving success. There's always a support system that one requires. And in a team sport especially, it is just not you as an individual player. You have a bunch of players. You have like 14-member squad. Then you have a support staff. You have the selectors who put the team together. Then you have an organization that gives you the access to the facility to prepare well. So it got down to getting everything in place. It took me good 2-3 years to work things around. There are some difficult personalities you have to deal with on your journey there, but eventually it came to a point where as a team we synced. As a leader, I had to give them the larger picture, the vision that, if we do well in an ICC tournament, if Indian team does well in a World Cup where the entire world is looking at the team, I think it's a great platform for the sport to grow. And we wanted to we didn't think that, it's a World Cup, everybody comes there to win. But more than that, we wanted to make a very significant impact. That was the language that I used as a captain. So there was no pressure being a host because we were playing in England. Yeah. But the way the team responded, usually the ODI World Cups is also a little longer. Like, it's not a 1 week or 2 week tournament. It goes on to good 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So there is still an up and down in the tournament. There are times when you lose games, but you have to make a comeback because the tournament is not ended yet. So there was a bit of a challenge there as well. But it's always difficult to get a bunch of people to align together for a dream, for a vision. And we were able to do that, and it is just not me alone. I had all of those people backing the team, backing the players to do what we did in 2017 World Cup. Probably we didn't end up winning a World Cup, but it definitely did change the perception about people to watch cricket, but watch women's cricket as well. And to change the course of the discussions in a round table is when it's cricket, is just not men's cricket. So there is women's cricket now is on the table to talk about. So I think that's a huge thing.
Wonderful. No, I think you're absolutely right. I think, and honestly, it takes an immense amount of grit and determination to bounce back from 2009 and bounce back from 2013. And I think you're dead right. Whatever we do, we're not alone. It's important for us to reach out and ask for help because there is help out there and for others to provide. I think, Vidush, if I can sort of come to you, what these ladies have described as an intense pressure cooker environment. All of us strive for excellence, but they do it on the public stage. They do it day in and day out. Newspapers are out there. So the pressure is immense. What are the boundaries that athletes should not cross?
I think we've heard from the panelists here, they've paid through pain, they've paid through life-threatening injuries, they've played through disappointments, they've prayed and played, they've done all of that. I think sports persons, when they get into sports, they always strive for excellence, they're always trying to achieve at the global stage to be the best. But it cannot come at all and at any cost. There is always restriction. Obviously, those restrictions come in from the rules and regulations of the game. There are times when some sports people try to take shortcuts, and shortcuts can be manifold. In particular, doping can be a very serious issue because all the work that you've done, all the hard work, all the various things to better your game, to better your mental standards, all goes to vain if you get caught either violating a law or violating a rule or doping. Issue is there are all different kinds of doping. We've all heard of cricket doping in the sense of people trying to use various kind of bats. We've heard of technological doping, that people trying to use different kinds of swimsuits for swimming. And that technology is going on changing on a regular basis. Now we have something called gene doping coming up, where parents are actually manipulating the gene of the children so that they're able to have certain attributes to excel in certain sports. So they're actually starting way back, right from when the child is in the womb of the mother. So they're actually starting on that. So that's also something that is being looked at very seriously. We've all heard of Lance Armstrong, of blood doping. So there are these various things where sports people are trying to achieve, but there are those rules, regulations, and which differentiate a cheat from a person who is excellent. And those boundaries are set within the rules and regulation of sports. They are set within, I think, moral code of conduct as well, and which all sports people need to adhere to while looking to and striving for excellence. So I think that's where the check and balance comes into place.
No, I think I agree. I think you have rules and regulations, but ultimately sport is about being sportsmanly. It's about being fair, and there will always be people who will try to work around that.
Can I ask him a question? The gene thing, does it help in, adding a few inches to your height? It came a little late. Had it been before, I probably would have dabbled a little bit in fast bowling as well.
I think we'll probably have to ask some sports doctors here. If those people get caught for doping, they will come to me. But I think enhancement will be up to the doctors here.
I'll also happily join that gene doping for height. That's not a problem. So I think, look, guys, thank you so much. I've got lots of questions from the audience. I've got the last batch here, but this is, I guess, from some of the youngsters in the audience. In the early days, how did you balance the need to study and to play sport? Any one of you, whichever wants to take it.
Well, I've never been a first ranker, but I believe that a routine definitely helps to sort of plan your day. And yes, because I started cricket very young when I was in school, I was also learning dance. I've learned dance, Bharatanatyam, for 8 years. So it was, the school years would be of education, dance and cricket. So sometimes as a kid I felt that 24 hours was too less for me to dabble into all three of it. My mother did teach me the importance of routine, giving time for everything, because that helps you in discipline, and over the years it helped me in compartmentalizing my mind. So when I was playing cricket, I wouldn't think about dance or my homework. When I'm doing dance, I don't think about cricket. So if I was in school, I wouldn't think about dance or cricket. So that really helped me to sort of classify my mind in such a way that what I'm doing, it had all my energy and focus. So I believe that it's next to impossible to have balance. If you have balance, that means to say you're not doing great. Because anything that you put your mind to, it requires that single focus. So something the other had to take the second stage. So, but then I believe education is important. If one is had to develop a good personality and to be more presentable, to talk, because in today's time, all these factors are very important for a person to develop overall growth. Yes, education is important, but I also believe as young kids, one have to get into some sort of sport, because what the classroom teaches, definitely sports teaches a notch higher. And it definitely helps you to build a very strong interior of your personality to face the world when you step out into the oyster.
Any one of you want to add to that?
I completely agree with Mithali because I feel it's not possible to have a balance. You can't be, jack of all trades and king of. I mean, it is. You can't do justice to everything that you pick up. So you have to choose your battles, and you have to see what you're good at. If you're good at education, is very, very important, like she said, because you have to be one with everybody around you. You have to be able to make conversation. If you're in sport, to carry that message forward also helps with education, because you can connect a lot of the dots. But at the same time, if you feel that you're excelling in a particular field, which might not be education. I would say whether it's the arts, whether it's music, whether it's sports, whether it's whatever, put your mind to it, because if you're passionate about it, if your heart tells you it's the way to go, then that is the way to go. And everything else just follows through.
Thank you. I think dead right. Excellence needs a single-minded focus, and even though parents might not want to hear the answer, but if you want to excel at sports or arts or music, you might have to give up on something. Saina, Shivani, if I can ask you, great question. Why should amateurs play sport? Amateurs play sport.
Why not? It's the best feeling in the world, अभी लगता है कि थैंक यू मम्मी पापा कि मुझे आपने स्पोर्ट्स में डाला. इससे बड़ा फीलिंग कभी नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि मैं जैसे अपने स्कूल में भी जाती थी तो मुझे बच्चे एक अलग तरह से देखते थे. माई पिक्चर्स यूज्ड टू कम इन न्यूज़पेपर्स. साइना वन स्टेट चैम्पियनशिप, साइना वन this title, that title, and then I was the youngest to play at the international level, senior tournament. I was only 13. तो मुझे यहाँ पे अपने स्कूल में ही एज ए चीफ गेस्ट बुलाते थे. आई यूज्ड टू बी सो हैप्पी, मुझे लगता था कि ऐसी लाइफ आपको डॉक्टर इंजीनियर बनने से तो नहीं मिलेगी. Sorry papa, my father is a scientist. So you might be feeling bad for that, but I feel blessed to be a sports person. इतनी disciplined life, इतनी hard working life, you feel so good to sweat out every day. Of course, when I was small, I used to train for like 16-17 hours. I used to be like running, playing. इतना मज़ा आता था ना मुझे. And luckily, I never failed. 10th तक मुझे 70% मिला CBSE में. I'm really happy. But as Mithali and Shagun said कि आपको अगर कुछ achieve करना है तो you have to really focus on one thing. दिल में आ जाता है, you feel कि yes, I'm going on a right way. Then of course your parents can see that कि आप अच्छा कर रहे हो, तो they don't really stop you from doing what you like. So again, I think I was destined to be a player. And जो आपको feeling आती है ना fit रह के, you feel so strong, and in that way you can also focus more on studies. जितना time आप I feel that normal person can 1-2 घंटा लगा देगा पढ़ाई में, लगेगा यार मम्मी कुछ और कर लेता हूँ, maybe TV देख लेता हूँ. But when you are actually training, आपका time, you are spending in a good thing, you're feeling fit, you're thinking fit, then I think you can spend even more time studying, and you can be more confident. And it's like you don't have to really study so much also, because the mind becomes so good that जितने time भी आप पढ़ते हो आप सब अच्छी तरह से remember कर लेते हो. So that's what I feel. जितना मैंने कराया अपनी education में, I had to study maybe 2-3 hours and मुझे अच्छे marks मिल गए. And मुझे काफ़ी parents बोलते हैं यार इसको 10-12 घंटे पढ़ा दे तो भी marks नहीं आते. So that's what I feel. As a sports person, आपका जो focus रहता है वो बहुत अच्छा हो जाता है. In whichever field you are in, फिटनेस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इनफैक्ट आई कैन सी माई मॉम, ये पापा तो ये एज में भी वेट्स करते रहते हैं. आई डोंट नो क्यों करते हैं, बट नहीं, फिट रहना है. सो दिस इज़ व्हाट एवरीवन हैज़ टू कीप इन देयर माइंड कि फिट रहना है, एंड रेस्ट एवरीथिंग विल फॉलो. सो दैट्स व्हाई यू हैव टू प्ले स्पोर्ट्स और एनीथिंग यू लाइक.
शिवानी, आप कुछ ऐड करना चाहेंगी? एमेचर्स क्यों स्पोर्ट करने चाहिए एमेचर्स को?
लगता है कि क्योंकि मेरा भी जैसे कि मैं स्टडीज़ करती हूँ तो मुझे सब लोग बोलते हैं कि तू स्टडीज़ में उतनी अच्छी नहीं है. लाइक मैं किसी भी कंपटीशन के लिए जाती हूँ, कहीं भी जाती हूँ, तो लाइक अभी मैंने कॉलेज में एडमिशन लिया था तो मेरे पापा बोल रहे थे कि नहीं, अभी कॉलेज में एडमिशन ले लिया, बस फेल मत होना, मेरी बेइज्जती मत करवाना, पास हो जाना. मैं पापा ठीक है, मैं इतना पढ़ लूँगी कि पास हो जाऊँगी. लाइक अभी मेरा ग्रेजुएशन कंप्लीट हुआ तो मेरा लाइक इतनी भी बुरी न्यूज़ स्टडीज़ में जितना मुझे घर पे बोला जाता है, क्योंकि मेरे ब्रदर सिस्टर्स बहुत अच्छे हैं स्टडीज़ में. तो लाइक मेरी अभी आई थिंक 81-82% आई थी, तब भी घर वाले बोलते हैं नहीं तू अच्छा नहीं पढ़ती है, तेरे को और अच्छा पढ़ना है, तेरा पढ़ाई की और बिल्कुल ध्यान नहीं है. क्योंकि मुझे स्पोर्ट्स करना बहुत अच्छा लगता है. लाइक कुछ भी होता है मैं अपने भाइयों को भी बोलती हूँ नहीं चलो यार तुम भी हम साथ में करते, क्योंकि मैं मैक्सिमम अपने भाइयों के साथ ही रहती हूँ. तो लाइक वो भी मुझे बोलते कोई बात नहीं तू पढ़ाई बाद में कर लेना, चल पहले हम खेलने चलते हैं. तो लाइक मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है.
Wonderful. So, I have a very interesting question. This is going to be the last question. But ये मैं अभी आपको पूछूंगा, जैसे कि आपको थोड़ा सोचने का समय मिले, and then I'll ask Vidush a question. ये last question, I'll ask all of you. Which is your favorite sports movie of all time? Sports movie of all time. So सोच, which is your favorite sports movie of all time? Okay, so think about this. In the meantime, Vidush, for you, quick, 30 seconds. What made you become a sports lawyer?
I think my interest in sports and probably interest in law. I think that's where everybody starts, right? It's the standard answer. There's nothing Einstein about it. I think just decided that that's a passion that I need to combine. The initial part was a bit of a struggle because there was nothing like that in India. But with the advent of IPL, and in particular, I think something which people lose significance of is the Commonwealth Games. The 2010 Commonwealth Games actually really gave a spurt to the Indian sporting industry. It, besides developing a lot of infrastructure, it also ended up developing a lot of human resources around the sports industry. And it also ended up projecting the Indian sporting system into the world scenario. And I think after that, what I've seen is people have started talking about sports and Indian sports. It's no more something back and beyond. Now people realize there is Indian sports people and Indian human resources from sports are somebody to be considered and to be dealt with. So that's
Brilliant, thank you. Your favorite sports movie of all time?
I'm a big Bollywood person. So जहाँ तक I could see a good sports movie, I would say Milka Singh. क्योंकि I think Farhan Akhtar really showed what training is, how to prepare your body. He really looked like a sports person. Otherwise काफ़ी मूवी में बस दिखाते हैं, but I as a sports person prefer कि उन्होंने क्या training किया to be the best. It's not that कि आप best दिखा दोगे तो वो अच्छा लगेगा, but what the struggle is in it, that, and Milka Singh was the perfect, I think.
Shivani, आपकी favorite?
Same, Mithali.
Milka Singh.
Yeah.
Okay. Shagun?
There was Chak De, which was very nice because it showed, first of all, it showed team building, it showed team spirit, it showed all the nuances that go on in a team that the coach has to kind of balance and make the team perform to the best of its ability. So I feel that was one movie that really made an impact to the masses.
Thank you. Mithali?
Well, I'm not into movies, I'm more into books.
Okay.
But my first coach used to show me a lot about martial arts, 36 chambers. I think that would be, it's not on sports, but it's more on how these martial arts people are so disciplined and find very different ways of challenging and overcoming that. And when it comes to books, I think Michael Jordan's biography is one of my favorites. And of course, Andrea Agassi is open.
Wonderful. Vidush?
I've not had movies made upon me, like we have Mithu, we have Saina, so it's not one of those. I'm surprised none of them quoted their own movies and their own life stories.
I would have thought Jerry Maguire, show me the money.
इसमें कुछ training नहीं दिखाया.
Nearer to that, yeah. But I like that movie. The Air as well, I think the recent movie. But Chak De, I think, really gives you the goosebumps and the excellent acting as well. So
I think Breakpoint also, which has just come out on Netflix, the docu-series,
Yes.
that gives you a major insight into what goes on in an athlete's mind. So that was quite an eye-opener as well.
Perfect. So, just as we wrap up, guys, आप सब से जब आप excellence के बारे में सोचते हैं, what is the one word, एक शब्द जो you relate to excellence? This time I'll start from you, Vidush.
I think probably if you follow your passion, you'll keep persevering and you will achieve excellence. I think this is very straightforward for me.
I think evolving.
Evolving. Wonderful.
Courage.
Courage.
Teamwork.
Team. Wonderful.
I think hard work. My life has been only hard work. जितने भी घंटे लगाए काम करते हुए गुजारा है.
I think hard work, courage and humility. Absolutely stunning. So, before I ask all of you to thank the panel, I have one last thing which I would like to do. So the family here in Udaipur for the last 50 years has been running the PI trophy, which is 2 trophies which run for boys to play cricket through, and the 50th tournament will be taking place this year. What we now want to do, and given this panel and given Mithali, we want to start in Udaipur a women's cricket shield. So we're announcing today the women's cricket shield, and that cricket shield is here to be unveiled. So Mithali, please, all of you, if you can unveil the shield, come. This is a game, this is a match that's going to be played by school and college going children, cricket shield. So please unveil the shield. Under 19 women's tournament in Udaipur, please. We're very excited, 50 years of cricket. Wonderful, thank you so much, thank you. So we really hope that this under-19s tournament will let some of the women come up from Udaipur. Guys, thank you so much. This is the panel. A huge round of applause for all my wonderful panelists. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.